Welcome all you folks out there in YouTube land. I am inviting you in to see my latest project. It is already started. Unfortunately, I didn't think to create a YouTube video until I had gotten quite a ways into it. And this is a 1933 Chevrolet, what is it? It's a panel truck, 1933 Chevrolet panel truck kit, made by MPC. Exact date, I don't know. I think it's from the early 70s, late 60s. I think it's 1968, 69, somewhere in that range. This is a kit that, well, I didn't build this kit as a kid. What I did was the Gangbusters panel truck, and that one is essentially the same kit as this. The only difference being that the Gangbusters has different decals and extra parts. In this day and age, this is I'm doing this January of 2020. This day and age, these kits are very hard to come by. The Gangbusters ones are very dear on eBay. There's several of them out there, but people are asking a lot more money than I'd be willing to pay. So I picked this one up on eBay probably 6 or 8 months ago, and it was missing two important pieces, the body and the hood. Recently, just a few weeks ago, I picked up the body and hood separately in another eBay auction. So now I have the completed kit. There's only one thing I'm missing. I have these wheels on here for a reason. The only thing I'm missing is the back section, and that's going to be one of the spare tires, so I think it's not going to be that visible. The kit, at this point, I'm probably 80% of the way through construction. The things that I've done to it, things that I've had issues with, first of all, the steering situation, steering mechanism. This is supposed to have working steering, and yeah, doesn't work very well. It may work, but it's not very well. Don't know if this is showing, but again, when you're dealing with old kits, a lot of flash on these kits, on this kit at least. I had quite a bit of flash. I had quite a bit of damage from the tire, rubber eating into the plastic in places. You can see right there. Let me see, what else did I have? It is kind of fussy getting the wheels to turn on this model, and if the wheels are supposed to turn on a model, I like them to be able to turn, and they do turn. They just. But what you're supposed to do is you have this backing section down in here. Is that showing up? This piece down in here is glued on to the axle, and then you have this drum. This is the brake drum section that glues over it, and same situation on the front suspension. The drum has a hole in it for the axle, I guess you'd call it, the pin here, the axle pin. So what you do then is I hope this is making sense. With you slide the axle pin through this, when you have the wheel all put together, through that hole there, and then you put a drop of glue inside the hole in the brake drum and push the axle pin into place. Then what you do is you hope that you didn't get glue on the wheel, and A, and B, you didn't put the pin in too tight that it doesn't turn. I think I put it in a little bit too tight. I haven't tried putting any oil on this, but I think a drop of oil would help with the turning. That one barely turns. This one barely turns. As you can see, I'm not even getting a 180-degree turn. So it goes. Wanted to give it a try. It steers all right. The only issue with the steering, if you notice, it's a little bit, what's that called? The toe out is a little bit off. No, you can't see that, can you? The wheels are towed out just a little bit. which means that the tie rod is a little bit too short. I don't know how to lengthen a tie rod. I can shorten it, but I don't think I can lengthen it. So I may just have to live with it. Oh, you know what? I just noticed something. This little piece came out of that. So this is supposed to snap into there and stay into there. It doesn't seem to want to. Right there. You're supposed to stay in there. Anyways, moving on. I was going to show you some other things that I've done with this. I removed the chrome on the firewall. I don't think the firewall was chrome. Pictures I've seen, I like to use pictures that I find on the internet, and pictures that I've seen don't show this as being chrome either. A lot of modeling people leave this chrome, but if you did it as per the model, you would have a small chrome trim going between the hood and the body, and then you'd have the chrome. I don't know what these lights are up here, but they'd be chrome as well. These were a utility truck mainly, and so I didn't really think it should have that much chrome on it. The other modifications that I've made, well, I painted up the interior because the door's open in the back. I don't know what I'm going to do with the back. I think I'm going to put shelves on it. I want to, at this point, I'm thinking that this is going to be an oil company. It's going to have Sinclair decals on it. I saw a Ford one on eBay, no, on Google search, a Ford image on Google search. So I thought that looked kind of cool. So it's going to say Sinclair. And another big thing that I spent many hours working on was covering up the openings on the side of the hood and replacing it with louvers. From what I found looking at pictures again on Google searches, was that the kit comes with 4 openings on each side. I don't know if that's showing up underneath there, but there's 4 openings. It's not going to show with the light behind it. There's 4 openings on each side, and then there are 4 louvers, I guess you'd call them. I don't know. They're things that open up on this, that in their chrome on the kit, and the Google searches didn't show any of these trucks with that style of hood. What they had was louvers. So what I did was I found some a louvered hood on eBay for a Ford truck, and I cut around the louvered section very carefully, and then spent about probably a half an hour on each side sanding these down until it was just very, very thin. I probably should have gone a little bit more on this side, but you know, it doesn't look too bad. And then what I did was I filled in, I put the piece that goes in for the front and back ones, glued them into place, and then put some Squadron green putty in there and sanded it, and you can just see the little edge of it. Right, I can see it now in the light right there. This one came out pretty thin. I like how that one came out. The one on this side is a little bit thicker. Again, many hours of sanding those babies. I spent, yeah, it was probably only half an hour on each side, but it went over days. I spent days doing it. Another thing I found looking at images online was that this comes as a chrome casting, chrome piece, and it has 2 horns in the kit. Some images I found online had the horns under the hood, or a horn under the hood. Some images I found online had 2 horns, and some images had 1 horn. I decided to go with 1 horn and dechrome it and paint it, because that seemed to be, again, going back to the idea of a utilitarian vehicle, a work truck. This is a truck, not a car. It's not, supposed to be all that purdy. So I decided to go with one horn and painted the same color as the fenders. So that's where it stands at this point. I'm, again, probably 70-80% of the way through it. I've got a few more steps to do. I'm going to leave the steering wheel situation as being static. Maybe the wheels will be steerable like that. And I need to put the chrome hubcaps on. And probably a couple more assembly steps here. Actually, I think just three major assembly steps. I got to put the seats in. I'm not sure how I'm going to paint the seats at this point. And I have to put that back floor in. I have to paint that wood color because it's wood finish. So that's where we're at. And come back later. We'll see how it is turning out. Welcome back to the 1933 Chevrolet panel truck build. This last time I was talked to you, I said that I would discuss some of any issues that came up as I was assembling. And I think the biggest issue I've had so far since that time is the radiator. I noticed that there's no real, I don't know what you call it, mounting pins. There's no mounting slots, anything like that for the radiator. It just sets down in to the fender well there. And it's probably going to be too dark to see. But it just sits down in there. And I just loaded it up with glue as best I could and hoped that it held. I did scrape the chrome off there. I didn't scrape off the paint on the fenders. So hopefully the glue was able to eat through the paint. So there's the engine. I haven't finished the engine compartment yet. I need to add the coolant hose and the supports that go from the radiator back to the firewall. So that will place the radiator vertically. If I can get my hand to stop shaking, come on. There we go, I think. Oh. There we go. Yeah, see? Look what happened. Great. So, there's that. I made one minor mistake as I was assembling the kit. I wasn't really thinking, and I rushed things a little bit. I was going to paint the gauges in the dash and forgot, so they're not painted. Don't know if you can see in there or not. Probably not enough light to get it down in there. The body is glued on. I did need to file the doors a little bit so that they would close. I think they'll close now. I find if I get them to the point where they just start to meet, like about there, and then push them, they'll close. So there's the doors. So we're down to the final assembly on it. Chrome pieces, tail lights, headlights, things like that. And obviously the two parts I mentioned. Oh, and the spare tires too. I mentioned before that I was going to paint, decal it up for Sinclair Oil Company. And I don't know, I haven't got the decals. I thought I had a set of decals in stock. I don't have any in my parts bag. So, I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool to have something on the back there. Some business name. I just don't have any idea what. Well, here it is. All done. The 1933 Chevrolet panel truck. The color I used is interesting one. It's a model railroad in color, and it's called Maine Central Green. And I like the Maine Central Railroad. It's just a dark green that I wanted on this truck. And I don't know, I think it works pretty good. It looks pretty similar, and I just painted a 1934 Ford in the same color. It looks pretty similar to Ford Ivy Green. It's pretty hard to find exact matches for these colors. Everybody's got their opinion of what's the right thing, and when you go online you see, okay, that looks pretty close. That looks pretty close. That looks pretty... Well, what is right? I don't know. There's a little bit of dust on the back door there. I keep getting dust on it. I think the dust is from working on that 34 Ford. Sanding and such. And the doors open in the back. And the right one you can see is quite loose. The left one holds position. And there's the inside. I was going to put shelves and such inside. I don't know if I will at this point. Maybe I'll put some... I do have some 55-gallon drums from a Ford flatbed truck upstairs. Maybe I could put that in. So, let me see. Issues with the truck and the kit. I think I've been over most of them. The steering, I really couldn't get the steering to work from the steering wheel. The wheels do turn. And I think I just knocked the rod out of alignment. But the wheels turn. What else did I have? Oh, I forgot to paint the dash. I was going to paint the dashboard gauges black. I forgot to do that. Another thing I noticed putting the spare tires on was that the shaft for the spare tire bracket, this little piece right here, the shaft for that is supposed to go down into a hole in the fender, and it barely long enough to just touch the hole. Luckily, there's also a little part of it that touches the cowling there just behind the hood, and I think between the two of those I was able to get enough contact surface to glue the spare tires in place. I also put a little bit of glue, a couple small drops, down into the spare tire wells to hold them in place. This side here, the spare tire is missing the back of the wheel, so there's only one side. If I told you, you'd notice it. I can see it, but I don't think you'd notice it if nobody told you. Now let's open up the engine, the hood, and see if I can get a view of the engine here. Come on. I don't know if I'm going to get it open. I should have brought a pair of tweezers down with me. Be right back. Ta-da! Alright. The engine. I think I've shown close-ups of the engine before. I'm not sure. So I'll do it right now. Engine compartment. I don't know what you call them, the supports here for the radiator seem to have helped hold the radiator back into position a little bit better than before. So it holds the hood in a little bit tighter. And now can I get this to slide back down on? Come on. There. Cool. So there it be. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching the video. And if you did like the video, please give a thumbs up down below. Those feedbacks are highly prized by YouTubers. And by the way, there's the underside of the chassis. The engine got a little touch up than I need to do, but nothing major. Oh, one more thing I just remembered. I need to put a license plate on the back. I have some license plates all set. Just pick one down behind the, I don't know if you can see it, it's down behind the bumper up in there. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. Hope you like the truck. If you do, please leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, suggestions, you can leave those down below too. And if you really like what I've been making here on eBay, on eBay, if you really like what I've been presenting here on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. See some of the other videos that I've made.